We're back with another live for you guys. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Tina again, and I'm welcome your Backup Plan tribe to our show today. Finding Strength After Abuse, Andrea Wehlann'S Uplifting story is going to be, I don't even have words. Like it's just, there's so much that she's going to give you guys that I don't want you to miss out on anything. So, you know what I'm like. There might be some tears. You never know. All in all, we're going to have a great show. So my name is Tina again. I'm with your Backup Plan app. I am the creator and developer of your Backup Plan. I'm a best-selling author of In the Blink of an Eye, just like that, where your life changes in a second. Some people might say, why or how does that happen? It actually does. In the blink of your eyes. Anybody that's had something tragic happen in their life will totally understand that. I'm also a financial advisor and an emergency preparedness coach. We are on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course, Pinterest. We talk about real life stories on our show that are life-changing for people. And it might be tragedies or traumas or sickness or accidents, even getting to natural disasters and wildfires, etc. In the blink of an eye, you are not Superman. If I can get this through anybody's head, to be honest, we are not Superman. We need to have a plan in place for whatever might happen today, tomorrow, or whatever. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. And that for me is my passion, and that's why I'm here each and every day to help people find some strength and understanding in how and why we need to have a plan and have some sort of understanding of what is needed in the plan. Because when life hits you in the face, and of course Mike Tyson says it the best, everyone has a plan until you're punched in the face. And it's very true. Your brain disappears, and I always say it's like it's floating and you're like, oh, I'm trying to figure this out and I can't get my head wrapped around it. And so it feels like your head is floating in the air and you're trying to grab it and bring it back to you. That's my understanding of, in the flash, in a blink of an eye, your brain just closes down. And of course, and the emotions hit. And it's very difficult to have a logic brain to think logically, if that makes any sense. But let's get the party started. We're going to have a quick commercial, and we'll bring Andrea on with her great show. Stay tuned quickly. I just keep on going to the beat. I just love that song. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to bring Andrea on. She is a author. and a yoga instructor and an entrepreneur, of course. And she comes to us from the Niagara region in Canada. If anybody knows Toronto, Niagara Falls area, kind of close to New York and Detroit and all of that kind of area in the United States. And I want to ask Andrea, I found her because I liked the title of her book, No Matter How Dark the Stain. And I know she's going to talk about all sorts of wonderful things with us about abuse and betrayal and all of that kind of stuff. And so, Andrea, I'm so happy to have you on our show today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and especially with you and your accomplishments and what you're doing to help other people, Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I always say if my show only has 4 views on it, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to make sure that it hits somebody that it will help. That's my goal for every show. So thank you for coming on.
That's my goal too, for every book, for every yoga class I teach, is that one person hears it and their life is different. It's been worthwhile.
That's right.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing what you do. You're and welcome. Taking the time to tell us, where did it all start for you, Andrea?
Childhood. I think that's where every good story starts. And
nothing ever happens in childhood, does it?
No, no, it's just wonderful. Oreos and cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started writing poetry at 7 years old. And I realized that all the words I didn't quite understand or I hadn't been taught. And so I kind of have come to realize that I was actually channeling all of the words and the poetry and stuff like that from that young age. And growing up in a small town in Lake Erie, on Lake Erie. So it started there with the writing that I can kind of see, that I was a little bit different, or that there was something was happening.
There was more to you than you knew.
At the time, yeah. Now I see it totally different. So it's been kind of like a hero's journey for me. When I was young growing up, it was Oprah Winfrey on TV. And I would watch some of the episodes and you'd see people dying of cancer, writers, girls who had been sexually assaulted, rape victims. And then that would be the whole episode. But what I started to realize about my own life was by 22, maybe by 17, a lot of those things had already happened to me. And so the way I see it now is that I had a lot of extraordinary experiences at a young age. And I've worked just like the hero's journey. You go away, you travel, you try healing modalities. And it's, I'm just back here to share. I wrote the book to help other people now realize that those experiences that happen, especially to women, there's a lot of experiences. There's rape, sexual assault, miscarriages, motherhood. There's so many things. And I think that it's important that we talk about those things, not be silent about those things, attach emotions to all of it. And
I think for most of it, Andrea, we don't talk about it or we don't share it with others because we have shame of some sort, or feeling that we're not successful or that we failed at it. I think that's where it kind of stops you.
I think we can say that now for sure. And I hope that no matter how dark this stain, can shatter all of that kind of stuff now. I think it's been enough of that we've been carrying that around. I think we can call it shame now. But back then, I grew up in the 70s, but we didn't know anything different. Nobody talked about, it was just if you don't wear a condom, you're getting pregnant. It wasn't about, we didn't hear about miscarriages. We didn't hear about, it being nature and not our fault. We didn't hear about, none of the moms talked about being raped. I mean, if you were divorced, you were like that one family in school,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now it's different. The consciousness is lifted, and we can talk about these things. And 2021 gave me a really good time when the world shut down to get all of those poems from seven, from writing through all of the extraordinary circumstances and coming to a place where I can actually. The whole point is to show people that you have all that you need. So, I had a lot of those tragic things that happened to women happen. I think I had them all, actually. And
It
so I
sounds
went
like
to
it.
and so I went to Brazil to climb the mountaintops. I went to find peace on paragliding over Rio de Janeiro. I Brazilian jiu-jitsu, New York City. I went everywhere. And then Dr. Phil said once that for every bad thing that happens or bad word that's said, you need 12 things to kind of counterbalance that. So I did all of that. But let me tell you what happened, what I saw with COVID and with all of my trainings. And I'm a yoga teacher. I have a BA in psychology. I took social work after just to make sure that I was nice and could help people. Um, Reiki master, tarot card reading, feng shui, every healing modality, all of those things I have done and practiced. Here's what I have to say right now. The consciousness when the world shut down was like a big yoga class. People had to stop and realize what was really important. For me, it was getting all of the words that I've written through the darkness and through the light out to the women, because with the pandemic, domestic violence went up 60%.
That's a
That
lot because it was
that
already
wasn't
bad
on the
enough.
news. It was already, when I was going through the experiences in university, sexual assault, rape, it was already one woman raped every 3 seconds. I don't think that that's changed. And please, I hope it has, but correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. And domestic violence went up 60%. So just, sometimes I think I don't want to tell my story, or I'm not pretty enough to help other girls, or probably some of that old shame and things like that. But who am I not to? Who am I not to when there's 60% of women maybe that weren't strong enough to get out of their marriages? 60% of women are at home thinking that because they were raped or beaten or abused or had a shitty husband, that that's their fault, that that's them. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, it's enough. It's enough. We honestly, our destiny, of all the millions of stars on the planets, of all, like, we are so much more amazing than we'll ever know. And imagine, I imagine a world where that compassion from all of those, that 60% of women that feel shame and feel like they're a victim, what if they wrote books? What if they were on the podiums in places lifting people up? What if they're the school teachers for our sons? Like, we need everybody to be at their best. And these things that happen that didn't have a voice, like, we have
You
to
know,
give them a voice. We have to
I,
say what it is. We have to share it. And we have
we
to
sure
rise
do.
above now. We have to
Yeah, we
rise above.
do. Because I think the abuse and the sexual assault that happened with movies and actresses
Oh,
and actors, I mean, it's all kind of coming out of the woodwork.
now we can
But,
see.
we can finally say, yeah, it did happen.
Me too.
But growing up in the 70s, I thought abuse
Mm-hmm.
was getting hit. I
Mm,
didn't realize that there
physical.
was an emotional abuse that takes place,
You're
and
right.
that it's worse because you don't see the bruises. You don't,
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows what you're feeling like inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that I wish that there had been more movies and TV shows about abuse and about marriage, of that sort
Mm-hmm.
of abusive marriages, or
Mm-hmm.
um, betrayals, and um, affairs and all of that kind of stuff.
And even just that people lie.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
just that there's a narcissistic personality that exists in the world. Can we teach children that in grade 4 now, please?
Yeah. Yes, please.
When is the age? I had no idea. I had no idea that someone could stand in my face and just bold-faced lie about, for example, education
Yes.
or about the things that they had, like to try. Yeah.
Yes. So
You
what
know,
happened in your childhood that influenced you getting to this point?
everything. Yeah, it's you know what got me to this point here is not so much my struggle, but knowing that there's still women that are struggling. And when I was little and watching Oprah, I had dreams of taking a year off high school and then go to the Peace Corps, like to help other people. When you thought of things like peace and calm, you thought of places like Tibet. Here's what I want the women listening to know. You, your consciousness is so high that you don't need to travel anywhere or go anywhere or read another book. The peace, the kindness, the solace that you need is already inside you right now. It is.
I know, I realize that, I know that it's an actual fact.
Mm-hmm.
Although I must say, when you're in it and you have fear driving your daily living because you're in so much fear, that your intuition and your gut feelings are just not there.
Yep.
It's like it puts a fence up to your abilities.
Yeah, you can't see.
You can step out of the picture and see it from a different light. I think that's what I learned.
Yeah, me too. I learned that you can't see it when you're in it. And this is why it's so important that your closest circle are people that uplift, people that have the things that you want, or maybe where you want to be. Those are the people to surround yourself with. Yeah, because you can't see it when you're in it. It takes somebody outside to see it and reflect it back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you to see it from a different perspective.
Well, you will eventually anyway. The tide's always turning. But yeah, this keeping good friends around and people that uplift or that are where you want to be will also help get through darkness a little bit quicker. Here's something else I want to say about the dark and about the fear, because let's be real. My Zen teacher said it like this to me. My Zen Buddhist teacher said it like this to me. If you're just experiencing the pleasure and the good things in life, you're missing half of your life. And here's what I found out from putting all of the poetry together and in 3 chapters that will meet you in the dark, that that will show you the innocence. You're just running through life, and then, like you said, in the blink of an eye, and you don't know. The middle chapter is of no matter how dark the stain is called. That's the thing about the heart, it breaks. Another thing for the grade 4 classroom, right? And then there's the rise of the goddess section. But here's the thing, and I love this message, and I want t-shirts that say this too. The dark and the light are both love. They're both love. How could it be?
When you're in it, you don't see that
you
part
can't
of it.
See. You can't see. You know how you start to see the light? If you're in darkness, do you know one way that you can start to see the light? Write. Just write things out. So if there's a woman listening and it's dark and you're crying and you're on your knees and you're terrified, yeah, I have been there.
Yes. I always say it's like
not knowing I would live. But
well, that's just it. Or where you're gonna go next. Like what's in the next minute? What's in the next hour? Like, because it's like you're in this dark room with no light.
mhm,
And I always say it's like going around the room trying to find a window or a door. And then finally, after working through perhaps journaling or
mhm,
whatever, music, sometimes
yeah,
dancing,
yeah, yeah.
um, I
Yeah,
felt like
listening.
I found the door handle. And then I'm
Oh,
like, I need the strength to open up that door now. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you pull it open and you get all of this wonderful sunshine and flowers and meadows and smells of beauty, and then it's like, oh, hallelujah, I made it out of this darkness.
I think the
And
universe
it,
meets you. Yeah, yeah. Until the next darkness comes.
well, that's it. And grief kind of does that to you a lot. It can pull you down into this darkness for, a split, if it's an hour or if it's a couple
Grief.
days or
A couple
whatever.
years, probably.
Yeah, like it's tough. It's a tough go.
Grief is tough. My favorite thing about grief, now, so I did palliative care in Toronto for 15 years. After I finished my schooling, I thought I could heal everybody from AIDS, but that didn't work out. So here I am. but I learned a lot about working with the people that were dying. But now, let me see. Okay. And so come this year, I'm reading a lot of books. I'm fine tuning my writing, trying to really help other people now. And I was listening to or reading a book. It was, I think, Brene Brown, but I could be wrong. I have Elizabeth Gilbert in my mind as well. Either way, the lesson of grief that resonated with me, like over all of these years, I've been so close to dying people, is this, that the amount of grief is a reflection of the love. What? And this past year, like this past summer, I never knew grief. Like, you would think that I would have, but I think I just went along with whatever it looked like on TV, or not, or overeating, staying in bed, like just feeling alone, crying, just grief, like how we know it. But hearing this person say that was so uplifting, and to see grief as the opposite of love, right? Like everything is in compared to opposites. So maybe even one of the listeners will take that, as I know it truly helped me, in that you only feel the grief because the love was so fantastic, was so great, was so grand. Maybe that's helpful. It was helpful to me. I mean, either
That's
way,
that's really helpful,
either
because I think
way,
I
like,
always say
yeah.
even grief for losing a pet is it can
Oh,
be huge as well. And
yeah,
nobody can say, well,
yeah.
mine's worse or mine's better than
Mm-hmm.
yours. Like it's like you said, it's based on the love that was
Mm-hmm.
between two people or two
The grief,
objects.
yeah, yeah. And at the end of the day, the grief passes, but you know what doesn't? The love. All my years palliative care, working in the old age home, it was always, what I learned is that the love is stronger than death. The love is
True.
stronger than death. And when you write, if there's any girls that are, I had one girl message when No Matter How Dark the Stain came out, and she said, I'm in the bathroom because if you've been in an abusive relationship, you know what time is like in the bathroom. You have to hide there sometimes, and you're
Yeah.
scared, and it's scary for a woman because men are always physically stronger, bigger, and scarier, especially when they're mad. But
Yes.
she said, like, I think you would understand. And she said, I'm hiding in my bathroom. And I was just like, oh, this
I
is,
think we've all been there. Been there, done that a few times
oh
over.
my
Tell the
gosh.
story about it, right?
I saw a post on social media somewhere actually this week recently, and it showed the door that has the actual hole in it. Because we're inside, but really the bathroom door is getting beaten instead of us, right?
Yes.
Hopefully. I mean, not in every circumstance. Um, but writing is a great tool. I mean, I still have toilet paper with my writing on it. My old waitress pads have writing on it. So if you can write some things down, to anyone listening, if you can write a couple things down, then do that. But another important point about my story and my life, I found interesting that in the years that the abuse was so beyond anything that I could recollect, and this is coming out of childhood, so it happens again and again. It can. Um, I didn't write for like 3 or 4 years because what I used to write was pretty, or I could transform it, or there was this big vocabulary and it was really nice. But when I was really scared and couldn't believe that this was happening again, I didn't write anything because I thought it looked ugly. Like it was all just like, this is terrible. I feel dead, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to write that anymore. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. I have to agree. And I'm sure everyone else out there,
Right? Like,
because you start analyzing what you're going to write. And that's not the whole point of it, right? It's just to blurt it out on paper.
And I think that when I was little and I would write the poem I'll read at the end, Live in Light, I must have been 10 or 11 writing it. It's so pretty. But then in an abusive situation, the words are not pretty. And you know what? If anyone's listening that doesn't feel pretty or that feels that shame or like they can't do anything, just your mind lies to you. So just listen to Tina and I, um, and just know that you're more, and that the same seed of love that you were born with is still in you now. You're still destiny.
It's just hard to find it when you've been beaten down so much emotionally.
But this whole life is hard. What's easy?
Well,
this podcast isn't easy to do. It's not easy to sit here and open and bare your heart and soul. We don't know what's coming after we hang up. It's a risk. Nothing here is, but we can handle hard things, and we're not here for easy. When we die or we're laying in the coffin, that'll be easy. But right now, we're here and we have each other, and there's a force of women out there, and we need them all functioning at top notch. We do.
We do. I always say, universe, I'm done. I'm good today. It's cool. You can leave me alone today. I've got everything, Do it tomorrow, because today I'm kind of at my limit.
I just started saying, okay, well, if this is still coming, then what can I do to be stronger? Yeah. And I'll go to the gym a little bit more, or I'll eat a little bit better. Okay, you keep bringing me stuff, then help me rise up to face it. Yeah.
I think when you can ask as well to whoever you adhere to, if it's the universe or a God or whatever it might be, that they want to help you. I truly believe that they do want to help you. And it's just a matter of asking for the help, to be given the strength.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because the darkness is so dark, it's a blanket over us. There's not even a thought to think, oh, I can ask. So, let this podcast help people know that, maybe you don't know, maybe you can't see anything, and you're praying to be dead or commit suicide.
Yeah.
But you can ask. Yeah. You can ask. That's a good point.
Yeah, you can ask to have the strength to get through whatever it is that you're going through.
Yeah, dear angels, please show me anything that you would have me see now. Amen.
Yeah, because I think they are there for you. It's just, like you said, Andrea, it's just so hard when you're in the dark, when you feel all these feelings and emotions, and you've been beaten down, or whatever the situation might be.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. So say you come out of the darkness, it's not light, because you have to actually process and transform that darkness to really live in light, right? Because you can be raped, okay, get to a place where you feel you've overcome. But if you haven't dealt with every stone of that night, every outfit you wore, everything everyone told you about how much you deserved it, and of course that's stereotyping. They're all different, but they're all traumatic. But you can be out having ice cream with the love of your life. And if you haven't dealt with that night and those things, when you lick that ice cream, it's going to come into your mind. And I see it in yoga class. As soon as you sit still in yoga, something comes up from childhood, from something that you didn't process. And so, like, really, no matter how dark the stain, like, is really every stone unturned. Because
Oh,
whatever you
thank
don't
you.
look at
Hold
in
it
your
up
own
so
life,
everybody can, yeah, hold it up. Yeah, perfect. There you go. I just love it. I love the title, and I love everything about it, Andrea.
it's just, it's not me. It's us. It really is us. I mean, if you listen, the Catholic, and think there's only one begotten Son, and we're all it. We're all it. So
Yeah.
I really hope, the women take from my presence here and from the conversation with you, that the dark and the light are both love. Only love is real. It outlasts grief and it outlasts death. It does. And I've buried my little baby boy, Luca, and the love is here. And that you have all you need inside you. Now, this wasn't true because I traveled the world to learn all these ancient practices and things like that, but they're on the internet right now. And you can learn everything that I did at home, or just listen, read the book. That the consciousness is there to catch on to things. We don't need all those deep studies anymore. Yeah, we're so amazing.
And I like the writing as well. If you can just get your head wrapped around putting, it doesn't
Anything.
matter what it looks like or what it would mean. Like I had a thing about, well, if someone found it, what would they think? Or somebody picked it up and
Mm-hmm.
read it. What would they
Yeah,
think of me?
yeah, yeah. And then we don't say anything, and that keeps
But
us. See how that
you have
ego
to
is always,
stop
the
that
mind is such a liar, though. It's
feeling.
always telling us, oh, you better not. Oh, you better keep quiet. Well, that's why we're in this situation. And maybe we
Yes,
went through everything that we went through so that now we can end that and begin something new.
and understand better.
Here's the thing about writing. So I spent a year, like I said, experiencing such deep grief, and I've already experienced, through, we talked about my childhood, some things after my childhood, burying my baby boy. um, Now I lost my point. Okay, so I spent a year just being really still, and this is a practice I've learned, through yoga, meditation, my Buddhism studies, metaphysics studies. I've always heard about it, but I
Yeah.
really did a deep dive into stillness, and wrote the book, Stillness in the Storm, from my experience. I like to experience first and then share, so I know what I'm saying, and so people can really hear what's happening. But Stillness in the Storm is so important to me because there's so many blank pages, and here's what I believe to my core: if you can even write out one word, or say, like, anything like that asshole, or I wish for peace, that makes a little space inside your mind and your body. It makes a little space where it's not inside you, it's not ruminating anymore. And in that space is where there's light and peace and compassion and kindness and all of these seeds that are in us. I really believe strongly if you can put any words down on paper, there's a powerful force happening. Journaling, powerful force. Yeah, not outside. Just you can do this in the bathroom with a broken door, right? But just getting little pieces out,
Yeah.
it's an experience. And then there's a new space that happens.
And it might be what you're going through at that time, right? Because
Yeah,
there's
just
different
anything.
facets
Yeah,
of
just
abuse.
where you are. Yeah, good point. Yeah, just start where you are. Even like this. So I'm in my living room right now. I have crystals behind me. I have a Halloween spider in front of me. Start there, right?
Yeah.
Wherever you just start writing what's around you.
What are you thinking?
Yeah. And more will come. There's a kingdom of peace that we all have. In Zen, they say there's 72 seeds within us. Yes, shame, guilt, hatred, evil, greed, gluttony. Yes. Also, kindness, compassion, health, wellness, abundance, grace, gratitude, love. They're all there, right? So what
They
seeds
sure
are
don't
we
feel like
watering?
it though when you're going through it.
That's right. But also, if you didn't go through the darkness, you wouldn't know which ones are light. You would have no idea.
True. Yeah.
So it's the opposite. It's in relation. We're always in relationship. Yeah. I would
Yeah.
have no idea how to love as deep as I love. One review on Amazon about No Matter How Dark the Stain is I don't think I've ever been loved like that. Like, wow, did I ever cry? But also, did they ever get raped and dumped on a curb in the middle of the night on a busy street with their underwear in their pocket ripped and the bra somewhere and have to crawl only because the coolness of the cement made them feel anything to be able to crawl up the grass to save their own life, right? Like
Yeah.
there are some things, but we all have our story and we all have our things. So people would say, yeah, but Andrea, you lost a child though. It doesn't really count about my cat. Okay, there's degrees, sure, but all of the feelings are the same.
Yes.
All of the feelings are the same. Come on. Loss is loss, shame is shame, love is love. Yeah, there's degrees.
Yeah.
I'm not anything special or anything different. We
And I
we
think the
all have to.
combination added to it makes it even harder, doesn't it?
A
You know,
combination.
well, your traumas, and then you haven't. I always say it's like the hair on your arm.
Hmm.
You might say something to me today that touches me in my heart. And because this is still so tender to me of what I've been through
Hmm.
personally, that that it just brings tears so easily to you because you feel like it's just on top of your skin.
Hmm.
And I think that, when one thing is enough, of course, but then other things just accumulates into this horribleness of,
Hmm. Yeah. So one thing I learned with meditation and my NLP training was that as soon as doubt knocks on the door and you let doubt in, all the friends come. Shame, guilt, betrayal. Everybody's there. It's like, hey,
it's like Cinderella and
just
the,
one of you, please. But that's important because we can retrain our mind. That's what my book, Deeper Days, is about. Every day, you can retrain your mind and we can handle hard things. But nobody told us that.
no,
We are here to handle hard things and we are so much stronger than we know we are.
we don't feel it like that though. Like, what what point did you finally realize that it wasn't when you were
Can I say the
17
F
or?
word?
Yeah, of course.
When I started to realize that my mind is a fucking liar. My mind is a fucking liar. That's when I started to realize it. When I started to know that the same mind that made me feel like a victim just because I was raped is the same mind that has me here sitting here today telling women, no, stand up. You are more. You are still destiny. Just being raped is not it for you. Just being beaten is not it. Just that's not it. It's the same mind that writes that detrimental story that can write people to suicide or death is the same mind that can create a love story.
True.
So whether that is my meditation practices, my metaphysics studies, my teaching yoga and watching my students come through it, or the poetry, I don't know where it is. But there's something to that. We can train our mind. So here's an easier example. If we all, and I believe Sadhguru said this, but I could be wrong again. If we all just right now took out our instruction booklets for our cell phones, okay? So we all took it out right now. What would we learn? We would go on our cell phones like, oh shit, I never knew I could do all these things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the same with your mind. It's the exact same thing. Buddhism is actually the study of how your mind works. Once we start to realize, or once I started to learn that the left side is logic and there's more energy to the logic because there's questions. So we're like, oh, did this happen because, and we hang out there a long time. If I write a poem, it can be 4 seconds gone. The creative side, it just goes by more quicker. So why are we depressed a lot longer? Well, because it's questioning. It's the left side. We stay there. Why doesn't our mind repeat our greatness or how strong we are? It doesn't. It's on the right side. It never will. This is mantra, the word mantra. Man is for mind, tra is for transportation. So everybody that uses a mantra, and there's some in No Matter How Dark the Stain, there's mantras in Deeper Days and in Stillness in the Storm. Because in order to train your mind into how you want to be, who you want to be, get out of the dark hole, you have to put it in there. I am light. I am love. I do have the grace of God or universe. I am an immaculate conception. You have to put it in because the way that the mind works, not because anything's wrong with you, it's just the functioning of the mind. It's how the mind works.
All of that childhood traumas and tragedies throughout, or
that's
abuse of relationships. I mean, it all, every time it's just like a hit on the head every single time.
I think it just replays. I think that story just replays. So I like your question and asking me that. So maybe it's when I started to look into Buddhism. I did Catholic Buddhism. I tried everything. Like I said, I'm an overachiever. I was abused, so I try and be perfect, even though it doesn't exist. But I studied all of these things. So maybe it was when I actually started to train my mind. 1999 in New York City, I really thought something was wrong with me because I couldn't save the world and the AIDS patients. And I found A Course in Miracles book and Marianne Williamson, who's actually running for president right now in the States. And I trained my mind every day. And because I felt like, I was a really shitty human being and I wasn't supposed to be on this planet past the bad things that happened to me, I did it 3 years in a row just to really make sure that I had transformed all of my thoughts of fear into thoughts of peace. And so too, I've transformed my life that way. Deeper Days, the book that I wrote, makes that really, really easy and simple to do. Where's that book? It's not here. Oh,
yeah,
it's
show
here.
us.
It's here. Listen. So Deeper Days I wrote based on my practice. So this is, how do you make your days deeper? How do you add meaning to your days? It's not coming from outside. No one's coming to the door. We have to do it. Okay, ladies, You can do this. You can do this. One thought a day. Look, love is honesty. Just one thought a day, you put it into your mind. It becomes who you are. We're
Yeah,
in control. We're in control. And it's shitty. And that's shitty too. Because
it is.
we're and Disney, all the Disney, the consumerism, the movies, we're taught someone's coming for us. That's not fair. We're taught someone's coming. The reality, ladies, is you're it. And it's sad, but it's also the most beautiful thing in the world. You are actually the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah, it's a hard lesson when you've had some childhood traumas to deal with to realize that you are the best. That
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
totally different story, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because you're used to feeling one way, used to acting one way, and then there's sadness when you're not that, or you miss parts of yourself that were chubby with ice cream on the couch, right? That's
or
okay. But
getting yelled at, or
yeah,
not being
because
good
it felt like
enough, or
love. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, I found it very incredible how you grew up a certain way with the people that you grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you went into your relationships, you took that with you, meaning I guess your subconscious felt that it was normal, that it
Mm.
was the way that you felt comfortable, even though
Isn't that
we
crazy?
hated every single thing about it.
Isn't that something?
It's really strange. Like, how the heck does that work?
Yeah. I think the cells in our body, just from my teaching yoga here at Ganga Moon Yoga, I think it's the cells in our bodies. I think the cells in our bodies hold on to all of those feelings. And when we see it in somebody else, even if we think we healed it, that's the mind being a liar again. Even if we think we healed it, a beep liar, but our cells resonate with those things still. So when I teach yoga, I tell the ladies that are here, you're here in yoga, so you're stretching your thought patterns as well. Every yoga pose, every time you reach out and your brain, and that's not easy to do, to go to a yoga class after you sitting in a bathroom scared for your life for 6 years, or feel like a shitty mom because your marriage broke up. It's not easy.
No.
But people come here and they come to my classes and lay there and close their eyes,
And
looking for
finally have
something
peace.
to feel peace. But so I make sure to tell them, one, you're not here to get enlightened. You already are. You just remembered. And two, every time you're on your yoga mat and you're stretching out your limbs, you're stretching your thought patterns. You're changing the cells in your body for what we talked about earlier, for the love, kindness, and compassion that's already there. It's changing the cells, the ancestral patterns.
I mean, emotional abuse, it doesn't seem to matter who it's from, right? A parent or a relationship. I think they're both
I've
horrible.
had them all, so I'm not sure.
I'm not sure which is worse.
Mhm.
But the physical sexual assault of some sort,
Mm,
I, I,
gosh.
I don't know how you turn that off, Andrea, because how would you, um, I'm not
I
really
think
sure how,
that's I think
you
that's my
know,
favorite question. I think that's my favorite question. Yeah, you transform it. You cannot turn it off. It's going to be there. You can write it out, and when it starts to play, you can read it yourself and be like, "Okay, thanks," or train your mind and be like, "I hear you, but I'm not feeding into that today." What I did, um, just that instant, the one instance, being dumped on the curb there for dead. That was
and to quickly intercept quickly for a second,
no problem.
how do you, I mean, we're going to talk about how to transform that because it's so visual when it's physical. You have the smells, you have the fears, you have the pain of what's happening to your body at the moment. whether it's hurting your arm or
Yeah.
inside or getting hit, or I mean, there's so
And
many
that's not
different
even, and
facets.
you're not even at the violation part yet. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so much to that that has those visual aspects to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
how do you turn that off? And
One, I think you really, really honor all of that. And I think you accept that that's part of you now.
I think
And
there's
then
something said about forgiveness, but I know when it's happened to you, you think, well, why should I forgive it?
I, yeah. So me then and me now are opposites or not. But yeah, you have to forgive. I think forgiveness is love. And the most beautiful thing I've heard about forgiveness in my entire presence is that you keep forgiving. And that's the doorway to love. Hmm. Yeah. So I like these questions because there really is a process. Yeah. So you have the story, and I think we fight it off. And then I think we just feel shitty because it's us, and we fall into what the culture has said. I just felt like a victim, and that's all I was going to be, just a victim, just a shitty girl, a shitty small town, and shitty stuff happened, and I was just going to be shitty the rest of
Yeah,
my fucking life.
yeah.
And so I tried to end it.
I think that's where a lot of prostitutes end up, um, going into these kinds of areas because you feel so shitty.
Yeah. It's, I
Mental
mean,
health problems. And
it's a rape culture. It's a rape culture. So, yeah, I think I wore that around for a lot of years. But you know what I didn't like, Tina? I didn't like the reflection that was being put back on me when I was like that. And so, yeah, I was raped, okay. And then I was angry, and it was awful and traumatic and stupid, and the fact that I got blamed for it was just like, I mean, it didn't make any sense.
is that still
Um,
happening now, or was that a 70s kind of thing where you deserved it kind of attitude?
yeah, I think I'm so retrained now that I could see that and be like, yeah, I'm good here. I'm not interested in that anymore. Like I've got people to help here. I think the light side, I think, is outshining that right now. Not to say it's not going to come back, but I've also written out every word about it. I wrote out, even if I wrote down a sentence of that night of what happened, then I even like dissected those words and dissected those words. I've forgiven. I've transformed it in a different way. And would I be sitting here if that didn't happen?
No.
No.
Who knows where you'd be?
And this is a happy moment here with you. This is a really happy moment for me,
Sharing.
right?
What did we say when the kids were small? Sharing is caring.
I actually started, a website called Many Healings. I always dreamt of helping women that were raped overcome it, and I started that. Yeah, but anyway, I lost.
That's
Then fell
awesome.
into another trap. Um, fell into another trap of horror that I didn't know was coming. But anyway, hopefully we'll see what happens now. But back to your question about um, yeah, I transformed that rape incident with my words and through poetry, and I think that that's the beauty of poetry and why it's so important is that you can write the pain, but you can also transform it with the words, and so too it
Yeah.
transforms in your soul. And the other beautiful thing about poetry, and it's the first quote that I put in this book, is mimesis. It's a Greek process that just even like I've already written these words and been through it. But when you read it, Tina, it heals your soul. It's a process of mimesis. It's been going on for years.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
so we have this consciousness now. We have the internet now, so that the people who hear this, it's for you.
Yeah.
I didn't write this for myself. I didn't publish it, like my life is for people to know that they can heal. It's not anything special.
Yeah. It's
It's
like
just,
writing music, songs,
oh,
right?
well,
I think,
music, yeah, that's a whole
I mean, there's
harmony and rhythm and beauty of life that I think that we'll head back
always,
to.
always,
But
yeah. I mean, there's
there's a,
songs from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s that everyone has grown up with that has some sort of thing in it, like a poem that obviously they wrote, but it resonates
mhm.
with you. Like that's why poetry and songs are
Well,
so
the poets,
fabulous.
if you look back before the Romans took over and stuff like that, the leaders of the towns, of the villages, of the kingdoms, they would use the poets to take advice for what was coming next in life. There's something about a poet that can channel, that can transcend, that can go beyond the spirit and the physical world and bring it into meaning. It's so amazing. I'm so blessed to have this. Listen, so if you were raped, there was one poem that really highlighted that Brock University incident for me, and it's called "Scorched" in the book. So in this book, there's some poems that my publisher was like, I think we should call it "Sugar Plums and Razor Blades," and I said no. We're calling it Rohypnol. That that's what it is. And there's another poem, and she's like, I don't think we can say rape. And I was like, we did all that for all these centuries already. We already
Yeah.
said we're not talking about it. I said it's being called rape, or I'm not publishing the book, and so it's called rape. But there's one poem in here called Scorched, and there's a YouTube video that I made about it as well. And I think I called the YouTube video. I'm not that savvy on it yet, but I want to do more stuff like you because you inspire me.
Oh,
Um,
that's good.
mhm. I there's a poem on there called Scorched, and I think I titled it "How to Transform Pain." That is a poem where that incident where I was left for dead and the frosh week, rohypnol in the drink, raped by a frat party, and then kind of left for dead. Um, when I had a defining moment, first I did all of you get the counselor, you put the charges, you do all this, but at the end of the day, you still have to lay there and go to sleep. So,
Yes. By yourself.
right?
And
And
your
I
head is
remember,
going like this. Your brain is going like this.
and your body, and your whole life is not the same. The music you listen to is not the same. The food you eat is not the same. Your outfits don't look the same. You don't look the same to yourself in the mirror. It's deep. It's a lot. And I remember one day, and they were making fun of me as a soccer team, and they were making fun of me down the hall, and my poems were published in the Brock Press at that time, and they would laugh and you liked it and all of these things, and I'm like, okay. Anyway, I remember being in my apartment with my roommates, and there was a point, and I had always written, don't forget, like since 7, right? But this time I was like, no, I was angry and I was mad, and I was not what they were saying. I did not like any part of it. And I am not that girl. And my poetry is not about that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry
It's
to
like
say
being
that.
bullied, I guess, right?
So
As well.
I took the whole power back, and in this poem, and the poem, yeah, I don't want to be sweary, but I am. It's just wait. There's the 70s again. You can't get rid
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
But I called it fucked, and it's like I fucked the dirt you threw at me. I fucked the earth you stole from me. I fucked the church you gave false power. And I fucked your life inside my shadow. And it goes on. But it's in the book, but it wouldn't be published. My publisher won on that one because she's like, we're taking it out. It's going to get flagged everywhere. So in No Matter How Dark the Stain, look for the poem Scorched, or look for it on YouTube, or just message me like, come on, it's 2023. We can just message each other and find each other on social media. But that
Right.
poem is so important. It just takes it back. And it's, yeah, who the fuck
Powerful.
are you to say live or die is the end of it. Who the fuck are you to say live or die? Who is he to say that that's my life, that I'm just that? No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
No.
True.
You transform that story and you tell yourself a new one. And in fact, Oprah used to say, you fake it till you make it. So girls, you can tell yourself whatever story you want to tell yourself.
Yeah.
It's true. We're all a story, but what are you telling
That's
yourself?
right. That's for sure.
And your mind is lying.
I don't want to end because we could talk about this for a long, long time. I'll have to have Andrea come back and talk about her son that she lost.
Oh.
I think that's a topic all in itself, and learning to overcome, if that's even a
I
word.
would love that. I would love that. And all of the miscarriages. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a whole
Mhm.
other thing and an entity of itself for
Yeah.
women.
Mhm.
And we'll have to do that for you guys, because I
Yeah.
think there's so many miscarriages and so much guilt around all of that.
Silence. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not knowing. That's so traumatic. Oh,
Yes.
that's
Yes. So I think we'll do that. So I wanted to quickly say to everybody, if you haven't liked, shared, and subscribed to our channel down there in the box below, make sure you do, so that when Andrea comes back, you'll get notified. And for any other guests that we have coming on our show. I'm so happy to have had you on, Andrea, and I don't want it to end, but we do, because we want to talk about it in more detail again, and we'll do a part 2 to this, I'm sure.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
So make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It's just down below in the button, so you get notified. We'd love to have you come on our channel. What final message would you like to give the listeners, Andrea?
Everything that you need to heal your life and to transform your life is inside you right now. The darkness and the light are both love. You can handle hard things. Keep going.
You've got this, even though you feel like you don't.
That's part of it. Yeah, that's the love. Yeah. It's a beautiful dance and a beautiful romance. So don't let it end here. Keep going.
And I think it's hard because people don't know what's going on in your head.
You can't see it when
You
you're in
can't
it.
see it, so it's hard to.
But Tina, this exactly makes what you're doing and your efforts so important.
Yes, to share.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because how I saw Oprah was a light, and how people are listening, hopefully this is their light.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's more in your books. And I'll
there's
have
so
them all
much
linked down
more.
below in the
Thank
description
you.
box.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think, that's how we have to touch people, is to for them to know that it's out there, for them to search whatever resonates, whatever changes them, whatever turns the switch on.
The heart. Yeah. Long live the heart.
Yeah.
I think that's all the heart.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for
Welcome.
coming
Thank
on
you.
our show today.
I can't thank you enough. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you didn't seem nervous at all, Andrea.
Oh,
See, we did it. We did it.
I just feel it's so important. Yeah.
It is. It's
It's so
definitely
important.
important. Yeah. So in all that being said, I hate to say this, but we aren't Superman. A lot of the feelings we have are, nothing's going to happen tomorrow. We're Superman. We can handle it. They have people have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month. But things can turn in the blink of an eye, and you have to have a plan of some sort in place. of those that you leave behind, as well as yourself. What do you want that to look like when maybe you have a small business, maybe you work outside the home, maybe you work inside the home, whatever that looks like for you. But we need to have a plan in place for the what ifs. Because if you don't look at them now when everything is fine, you can't look at them after. It's too late. So we need to have some sort of idea of how to have a plan in place for a house fire, a hurricane, losing your passport in Europe or Thailand, or something that happens to you that you become disabled with, an accident of some sort. How is that going to affect your income financially? How is it going to affect you emotionally and in your relationship wise? And that's what we try to cover in your backup plan. So if you are thinking of that special someone right now while you're listening to this and you haven't spoken to them or seen them for a while, make sure you reach out to them. We still have phones, knock on their door, FaceTime them, whatever it is, and tell them how much you love them. Because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. And I thought for sure I could handle this today without tears. Okay, take a deep breath.
Every tear is the ocean.
Yeah, it feels like the ocean sometimes.
Every tear goes back to the ocean. Every tear comes from the ocean.
Yeah, the tide of the feelings.
Michael Stone, my Zen teacher, said that actually physically, where else would it go? It's all part of the ocean.
Oh, that's a cool explanation of it.
Yeah.
And I always end with Carol Burnett because she's just a lovely soul of happiness. So let me just take a deep breath here for a second.
You're doing good.
Yeah. I'm so glad that we had this time together to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes a time we have to say, so long. So long, everybody.
Namaste.
And thank you for listening. Thank you to all the listeners.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andrea, for coming on, and we'll see you soon. We'll have Andrea come back to everybody, and we'll talk about a whole other topic in itself, which is huge, about grief and losing a child and losing a baby and miscarriages. So
yes,
I'm excited for that as well. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Stay safe and be kind. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.